Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. This is a tremendous opportunity to get to know you and to share with you what I think about the power of why. This is a fundamental question. But I would like to do so through three portraits, three snapshots, for each of which I've chosen a title. So the first snapshot, those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world usually do. And Niccolò Govoni and Giovanni Volpe fit perfectly into this category. Think of a teenager growing up in a wealthy province in northern Italy who hangs out with posh people, enjoys life, and who perhaps has no particular concern in the fate of humanity. A teenager like so many we know everywhere, just as I once was. Something happens at some point that turns your world upside down, something that shuffles the pack of cards you're holding. All it takes is one person, one encounter, one seamless, irrelevant, innocuous question, one ride in an elevator. And just like that, one's existence changes course. You have set on sail on a journey that knows no end. You no longer more. Have the deepest respect for you for Still Arise. You ask yourself a question and you pursue the answer to its very end. Isn't it the transformative power of why? The question and the answer are here in this school, in this perimeter fence that links two worlds, that of Matare and this one of Still Arise. Hope brings them back together because a better world must exist. It has to be a reality because equality amongst people must be a reality and not an abstraction. And when this equality of rights, that is of conditions and possibilities, does not exist, the failure is a collective one. I'm here for you, for the young people of Still Arise. I'm here for Gloria, for Stacy, for Stephen Idris, for Blessing. I would like the world to know about you, your hopes and your expectations, about your whys to which there may not necessarily be a plausible human answer. The why of many, both here inside and just outside in Matare, is the terribly human cries in the face of innocent suffering and the world's injustice. Faced with so many evil in the world, we cling to the hope that the universe is guided by a wisdom that knows no boundaries beyond time, where chaos, beauty, and pain coexist. And Still Arise does not merely offer hope. It promises future, helping you to imagine it, to seek it out, and to find it. It teaches you to fight for your dreams. This school will have taught you to yearn for the vast and endless sea. It is a collective responsibility for all of us to support you in this endeavor. And I have a proposal. I'd love to see a book bringing together all the whys from you students, from all Still Arise schools in the world. I'm sure it would be a tremendous bestseller on the shelves of any bookshop. And my snapshot number 2, and the title is How and Why, is what is essential really invisible to the eye. Every critical thinking begins with asking why things are the way they are, whether we can be agents of change. A society that doesn't ask why bows to injustice and to inequality. And this is one of the greatest lessons of Still Arise, empowering young people through education to become adults, responsible, and engaged citizens. The how allows us to navigate the world efficiently, but the why allows us to understand it. It summons us to look beyond what immediately meets the eye and to search a deeper meaning. What is essential is not invisible because it is hidden, but because it only reveals itself to those who are willing to question appearances. Every meaningful change begins there with the courage to ask, why? When I look back on my personal relationship with the power of why, I must admit that I only came to understand it when I was already quite grown up. What a pity. And for many years, how clearly took precedence over my whys, how to spend my free time, how to climb the ladder, how to manage to do the job I wanted to do, which is actually, as it happens, exactly what has been keeping me busy for the last 30 years. What was essential remained invisible to me simply because I didn't grasp it. But now I have realized that what matters cannot be measured or weighed. It can only be understood with the heart. And in certain situations and misfortunes, there are very profound whys. And the power of those why is not always positive. War, displacement, poverty, injustice have confronted far too many kids with whys that no child should ever have to ask. But I'm convinced that your strength of the young people lies first and foremost in the hope for a better life. This is where Still a Rise performs something extraordinary. It does not allow those whys to become resignation and victimhood. It transforms them into hope, responsibility, and action. It teaches you not simply to dream of a different future, but to believe that you can shape it for yourself and for others. Hope grows more stable and resilient precisely where the wounds are deeper and the heart has been ploughed by pain and hardship. These whys become even more powerful when we transform them into a passionate enthusiasm for life, not just for one person, but for everyone, because life is forever and it is always dignified, regardless of misfortune or good fortune. This is the answer I've given myself to a series of whys. Joel the prophet wrote that the young shall prophesy and the elderly shall dream dreams. I ask you not to stop making me dream. And I have a third portrait, third snapshot for you. Being inhabitants of the lands in between is the title I've chosen. I entered the diplomatic service following many whys. I came to realize that I needed the kind of diplomacy that lives in the liminal space, where different geographies, histories, cultures, and perspectives meet. I understood what the frontier means to me, a point of connection, not a dividing line. I love the world because it is not as I've read about it, but as those who live there experience it. And as a diplomat, I'm immensely fortunate to be able to stay in a country for years, not just for days. Today, Nairobi is the city I've come home for some time now. And serving the country means serving peace. I know where I come from. I know where my national interest goes hand in hand with Italy's openness to the world and its place within the international community. States are like people. They grow, prosper, and mature through relationships. Perhaps Italy itself is by its very nature a land in between, a peninsula welding Europe, Africa and the East, crowned by snowy high peaks and surrounded by deep blue waters. Geography has taught me that the identity grows through encounter rather than isolation. It may be no coincidence that Italians, missionaries, volunteers, entrepreneurs, scholars are everywhere. Still a Rise is a gem of Italy in Kenya. It testifies to the transformative power of what Italians do, just as the mark left by Italians who arrived here in the early 1900s, the Consolata missionaries, is indelible. The very core of the national interest of a great democracy like mine lies in peace, and we diplomats are instrumental to that peace. And peace is not a weakness to be corrected, but a responsibility for which to strive each in their own way. This is the essence of what I call a generative diplomacy, one that creates processes, weaves threads, and mends rifts, not the diplomacy of the past, which favors resting on one's laurels. To the fundamental question why I've often asked myself over the years, who am I as a diplomat? I've answered by saying that I'm fundamentally an inhabitant of lands in between. I know where I come from, to whom I belong, but my journey through the world has shaped me into the person I am today, with all my limitations, all my flaws, and my humanity. Thinking of the hard work of my compatriots in Kenya and that of Niccolò, of Giovanni, and their team, a beautiful phrase comes to my mind, which I offer you as a token of my respect and of my friendship. Those words, those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who lead many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. Thank you.